Hello, everybody. I'm in a different spot this time. I decided to try a different place for the seat. I've been trying to debate. I had a couple different things I want to talk about. So I made a choice on which one based on, I kind of just sat for a few minutes, looked out the window. I got the sun setting over there and thought, what is it that I feel really would be a powerful thing to say? So over the course of the last few days, I've had a multitude of conversations with folks from all different walks of life for a project that I'm working on with one of the clients. And during the course of these conversations, one of the things that has struck me, and is not the first time, but every time that I hear it or feel it, it always makes me think about how beautiful and amazing it is that we were talking about a specific goal. Each of these people kind of headed towards the same specific goal, but they each came from very different backgrounds, paths, ways that they had gotten there. And as I was having conversations with them and about what had brought them to this specific point, that was part of why I was having conversations with them, what were the reasons that they felt that that goal was important to them? And the variety was incredible, right? I mean, the different paths that had converged to get everybody to the same thinking this particular thing was important, from different educations, different upbringings, different ages, different socioeconomic backgrounds. I mean, you name it, variety was all there. And yet they all arrived at the same place. And again, it just reminds me of how incredible the gifts that we each bring, and sometimes aren't even aware of how significant they are. I am 100% firm believer that who you are is as important as what you have, right? So I was working on this presentation and I needed to make some updates on it. I was putting together some of the past projects I've worked on, the different certificates and degrees and things that I have. And as I was reflecting on what I'm going to be talking about for this, I put at the bottom of it what I was calling my life credentials, right? So, okay, this is what my degree is in, and I have this many years of experience, but what are these other things in my life that very much make me equipped and capable and ready to talk about this specific topic? And a lot of those were just things that had happened. They were who I was as a parent, my childhood, maybe some different stories or things that I had gone through, but they were unrelated to maybe anything I ever sat out on a plan or that you would really put on a resume as being things that qualify you to do something, and yet very much help to qualify. And so for each of you, it's the same thing. You know, you may be looking at somebody and thinking, well, this person has, all of these various things that make them add up to being capable of doing something. And I don't have those. And that's true. But what you do have is your unique experiences and your unique qualifiers. And don't underestimate the power of those, because in the conversations I was having with folks today, their ability to do things and their ability to offer value to this specific goal that we were talking about were very much not just based on where they went to school or how many years of the experience they had, but also on all of these other life experiences and unique perspectives that they were bringing to the conversation. It's inevitable that as humans, when we want to accomplish something, we tend to look at other people that may be accomplishing the same thing that we are and kind of assess where we may be against them, right? So if we see somebody who's really successful in achieving something that we would like to achieve someday, we're going to look at what are the things that they have accomplished, where do I compare against? And that's natural, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I think it's good for us to use other people as models, right? That's how we can help to figure out maybe some of the decisions we have to make. But we may then, in the course of that, forget that there are things that person doesn't have that we very much have. So it's almost like there's a second resume. And there was somebody that I was kind of coaching maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Doesn't really matter how long ago it was, but they were talking about their resume and how, because of different things that had impacted their professional career, their resume didn't really reflect the ultimate career goals that they had and what they wanted to do, and how do they present that both on LinkedIn and in sending out their resume. And I said, I think is really helpful is to run, again, this kind of like life credentials or this life resume where you put some of those other characteristics in there. And in the section on your resume where you have that quick summary, or in your interviews, right? Sometimes it's getting in the door if they interview's the trick, but making sure you mention those parts of your life and those skills and things that aren't going to be reflected on your resume. and incorporate them, right? So if you were working for a company and you had the specific tasks, but what was it about you that made the way that you accomplish those tasks differently? It might be that people were more apt to have conversations with you, or you were really great at follow-up. Those softer skills that you don't always get to kind of put in your resume, but that maybe come up in the interview if you get it, incorporate them in there. You're a miracle of characteristics and accomplishments and stories that have created the person that you are today. And all of that is important. And I think when you start to look at the resume, specifically right now, the climate, a lot of people have lost jobs. My heart just breaks. Again, a lot of people I was talking to in the course of these conversations I was having were in situations because their company had downsized, their role had been, dismissed. And that's a difficult place to be. And then you're entering this workforce trying to figure out, how do you make yourself stand out? How do you make yourself more valuable than somebody else's resume? And I think it's really, to me, essential that you don't lose sight of the things that are outside of your degrees and your certifications and those job responsibilities. And maybe you're not even looking for a job. Maybe you're just at a place in your life where you're kind of looking at, who am I? Where am I in relation to where I'd like to be? Make yourself that life resume. Some of the biggest accomplishments may have been things that felt like a failure at the time. You hit some major obstacle and you overcame it. And that overcoming it was like total rock star status, right? Own that. Put that on there. What was a terrible experience is now a win for you because you overcame it. Those life accomplishments, those things that you went through. Did you have an illness? Did you have a time where you were really alone and didn't have a support network and you were able to maneuver through that? Maybe you were in a job that you really didn't like, but you stuck it out through thick and thin in order to pay your bills. Those are all gigantic wins and extremely important as you reflect on who you are. So that's going to be my suggestion to you. And you can do this as something that you keep on a, day-to-day basis. It can be something that you do just once and kind of pull up and update every once in a while. But make yourself a life resume. Look at the things that you've accomplished, but look at them outside of how you're ranking them as what we would fall into like the success category. If you overcame an obstacle, if you stuck it out during difficult circumstances, that is a win and very much deserves to be included when you're reflecting on who you are and where you're at in your life. And then you use that looking forward, right? You have done these things. So just like a degree or a past job experience helps you to be successful in a future role, those same things that you overcame are going to help you forward. And so you want to recognize and you want to own those. Mm-hmm. So that's my thought for you for today. I am going to sign off. I have some things that I want to work on. This was day 5 of Live for 5. I plan on doing more Go Live. I don't know if I'm going to sequentially keep up with the pattern right now, just because there's a lot of things that are going on. I want to make sure I give everything the attention it deserves. But I want to keep these Go Lives because I do appreciate that it's been good for me, because I've been finding that regardless of how I'm feeling or where I'm specifically at in the house or wearing, I'm getting on. It's just me. Sometimes I'm very organized, sometimes I'm not, and I think I need to continually remind myself that all of those are okay. And it's an opportunity to connect with you all. I've really appreciated the different messages that I've got. Some of the things where I thought, weren't necessarily that profound, but people heard them in a profound way and have bounced that back to me, which has been really incredible. Last night it was interesting. A couple people were, reaching out saying like, you looked really tired in a nice way, and that was fine. I think this is all just about building community, and that's what we're designed to do, to build community, to recognize our value and put that value back out in the world. So love you all. Have a great night.